I'm Peggo, and I am conducting Song Weavers here at Concord Community Music School. I guess I was one of those kids who always sang. I sang everywhere. I laid on the living room floor in the 60s listening to Judy Collins and Joan Baez in the 70s and sang everything I could and sang in church choirs and had a band in junior high and a band in high school and a band in college. And I thought that that would be all it is, that it was a hobby. And it was in college that I actually first took voice lessons. And I once asked my mother many years after I had actually graduated from conservatory, well, how come you never got me voice lessons? And she said, I tried, and you refused. And in high school, I don't know, I just never did. And I have no memory of that at all, which I think is really curious. So I took voice lessons and then began singing classically. And so when I graduated from college, I continued. And when Paul and I, my husband Paul Oates, when we moved to Concord, I drove to Boston every week to take lessons. And that's when I really started taking technique and classical music and expanding what I thought of as music that I could sing. And in that process, I decided I really did want to get some more serious training. So meanwhile, I'd already gotten a master's in elementary education and was teaching school. I was teaching fourth grade. And decided that I could always teach fourth grade, and that wasn't age dependent, but voice was. And getting the training and getting it early enough was important. And so I left and went and got a master's at New England Conservatory. Kind of had to choose, was I going to be elementary school focused or was I going to be music focused? And it really felt like music was where I needed to go. But I do think of myself as a teacher who is a musician, and in fact Song Weavers is actually making me a better musician because I'm having to learn a lot of things that I kind of knew in the background but didn't have to use, and I really have to use them, and I realized I'm learning a lot doing Song Weavers, which is so fabulous. And it is making me a better musician, but to be a good teacher is a good teacher. Good musicians are not always good teachers. But I like music that's meaningful. So when we sang with Femami, for instance, the women's a cappella group for 10 years, we sang songs that had to touch us meaningfully somehow. Song Weavers is like that as well. I mean, in fact, I get a lot of feedback, and I ask for the feedback from the women. Do you like these songs or don't you? This is my first year here. And I won't know unless you tell me. And if you just tell your neighbor and you don't tell me, then how are we going to grow together? So some people really like certain music and they really don't like others, but there's another bunch who like the ones that somebody else doesn't like. So the bottom line, though, is music that is meaningful to them, that grabs them in the heart somehow, that's not just frivolous. Swing low, sweet chariot, Peggy Center once said this to me, is that I'm always learning. She took lessons with me for a long time, and we would learn with each other. And so, you come to a place where you feel like your sponge is full in the way that you're doing it. And so how are you going to learn something new? And then it's scary and risky because what you had is pretty safe and you know it and you're, quote, pretty good at it, at that point. But then you just feel compelled to go do something else. So what I'm doing now is I came back to the music school to do Song Weavers, which I'm loving, completely loving. It is a lot of work. It is making me use a lot of skills that have been seriously rusty and underused. Like I spent the entire weekend arranging 4 songs to put together in a medley. But it's very satisfying. It was really fun, and I never would have done it before. And then the other thing I've been doing is I've been developing a website, which turns out it takes a lot longer than I thought. I thought, oh, I'll have a website. Let's just do a website. So anyway, no, it's taken months to do a website, and the focus of the website is teaching workshops that I've been doing for the last 10 years called Vibrant Voice. And I have been teaching them here and in several other places around the country, but not too far afield, not too far out of New England. And I'm going to try and market them around the country to universities and workshop centers and people who want to learn about their voice. I think the reason I've been drawn to singing But I think singing is such a valuable experience for people, regardless of whether you, quote, can sing or you can't sing. Everybody tells me they can't sing, which is in fact never true. But that's cultural. But what singing does for people and why Song Weavers is so powerful, or why this workshop, Art and Voice, is powerful, is that when we sing, when we allow ourselves to sing and get past the good or bad judgment about the singing, we vibrate and resonate every cell in our body. And so every cell that's slightly jarred from whatever has happened in the day, and the static in your head, all of those vibrations, you sing one song or even one note for 3 minutes. 3 minutes is kind of the magic cutoff. You just breathe whenever you need to and you just keep singing. All of that static going every which way vibration of the individual cells comes into a kind of harmony. And so all of a sudden, the reason people like to sing is because they feel happy. And they say, I feel so happy.